students at Newtown High School. Putting that arsehole in his place. So the guy's an idiot for sure, but he's more than an idiot. He's Gina Reinhardt's idiot. He's Rupert Murdoch's agent. He is there to represent the millionaires, the corporate criminals, the 1% in this country. And he's one of many across history and today of Liberal Party men and women, mainly men, who themselves are millionaires, who themselves are part of the 1% and who never have to face up to the consequences of the things that they are doing for ordinary people. Does anyone in the front bench or the back bench of this government have to think about whether or not they're going to be able to afford $6 to go to a doctor in the future? No. Does anyone in this government have to think about whether or not their pension or their youth allowance, which is being further undermined, will be able to last the next week? Does anyone in this government have to think about whether or not the construction site that they're going to work on is safe enough for them to survive that day? Does anyone in this government have to think about whether or not them or their children will be able to finish university because they might not be able to, because they might not be able to afford it? They certainly don't, yet every single one of them actually went to university for free. So we're here today because this government is attacking public spending, it's attacking workers and students, and we are here to reject that agenda. We reject that our basic rights to health, to education, to having unions, to having asylum should be eaten into by arseholes like Tony Abbott and his fellow members of the Liberal Party. But I think that as a student unionist and as a student of history, it's important to see that to get anywhere against this government, we are going to have to fight. We are going to have to fight on every single front. Every single person that came out here with a gripe against the government, we are going to have to fight around that. We cannot wait for the next election. We need to keep on getting out onto the streets. And the fight that I want to talk about is the fight of students against this government. So what Tony Abbott and Education Minister Christopher Pyne are doing, what they're doing is making the biggest cuts to university funding in 18 years. I was out at La Trobe University just last week where they've just announced 350 staff will be sacked. This is going to happen at university after university because of these cuts. Prime Minister Tony Abbott and Education Minister Christopher Pyne also want to privatise student HECS debt. We know how well that's gone in America. Tony Abbott and Christopher Pyne also want to hack into student welfare. Shame. And Tony Abbott and Christopher Pyne also want to hack into TAFE. They want to withdraw TAFE funding. They want to make it harder for people to get TAFE degrees. Tony Abbott and Christopher Pyne want to rip more money out of public schools and put them into private schools, elite private schools. And Christopher Pyne wants to rewrite history. He wants to write black people, women, workers out of history. Well, tell you what, Mr. Pyne, there was a genocide in Australia, there is a genocide in Australia, and students should know about it. So students like all of us here need to fight these savage attacks on our education that are coming to every aspect of our education. I'm here to announce a National Day of Action that the National Union of Students is putting on next Wednesday, the 26th of March. There will be students out all across the country marching against these savage attacks on our education. And for Melbourne students, it's going to be happening right here at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the 26th of March. We need to education. But we need to be clear that the fight needs to go further than that. We cannot just be waiting for the next election. We cannot put our faith in Labor or the Greens. We should remember here that the Labor government were the ones that started cutting education. The Labor government set up the Papua New Guinea solution that saw Reza Barati